All right, welcome to the class on values. Values is just art talk for how light or dark something is. First of all, I'll make you this little chart. It could have any number of little blocks on it. And we're going to make values. It's going to go from black to white. And of course, shades of gray in between. We're going to put our black over here. It could go on the other end. We want it to be pretty black. We're going to put quite a bit of black in there. And even that's not enough. We're going to rub it into the paper so it's even blacker. Then it's going to get less black, which you might say is gray. And then less black, heading toward white. I'm going to leave the white alone, of course. So I'm just going to get some gray here. Like in any project, you're going to keep adjusting the colors. And with pastels, you keep adjusting the colors. No problem. You just go right over top of the previous color. They will blend a little bit. But that makes it fascinating. Remember, our goal is to go from black to white in a gradient. Gradually getting black and white. We're going to go ahead and put some white here. We're going to keep adjusting this. Now you can do this with any medium. Watercolor, pastels, pencil. Practice getting a nice range of values. From black, dark gray, lighter gray, lighter gray, lighter gray, all the way to white. Because you're going to need that when you make your paintings. You're going to need that skill. And as you see, I'm adjusting because I don't have it right off the bat. I just know it needs to get right. Nope, not a good gradient yet. We're going to lighten it up on this end and darken it up on the other end. Keep adjusting. You're going to keep adjusting your colors and your values all the time you're painting. Nobody just gets it right out of the gate. Values are important. I spent a couple years making paintings that were technically correct as far as the drawing and the colors and all that going, but they were boring. And it took me a while to figure out because I did not have a full range of values in the paintings. They were just like, ugh. So you don't want to do that. Now then we're going to apply values to an actual project. And the project I chose is an eye. Many students asked me to show them how to make an eye. Apparently it's something that people have a lot of trouble with. I think all beginning artists have trouble with eyes. Eyes are so important to us. We make them too big and too starey. So we're starting out with just a little sketch of an eye. Now what is an eye? An eye is a wet ball. Your eyeball is wet. Inside a bony socket covered with some fleshy bits. 3 things. Wet ball, bony socket, fleshy bits. Try to keep those in mind as you're working. Well, let's see here. Wet ball. Alright, so we're going to say our light source is from the upper right. It could be from anywhere. And we're just going to darken this in a little bit. There's a little funny widget right there in the corner of your eye. Go look in the mirror. That's a detail you might not even want to bother with. The main thing is that you get this part right. Round ball, bony socket, fleshy bits. Now, eyeballs are not just in the center unless someone's really terrified. The fleshy bits cover some of the eyeball, some of the iris. The iris is the colored part. And that would be normal, just normal, everyday stuff. If somebody's horribly surprised, maybe their eyelids would be wide open and they would just be staring. That kind of bothers people. Normally, they're not. Maybe their eyes are closed a little bit, trying to look sexy. Maybe they're squinting. Eyes are very expressive. Be careful. This is just a generic eye with a generic age person, and there's our little pupil. They say eyes are a window to the soul. Well, that little dark thing is a window into the inside of your brain, which apparently it's dark in there. You know, pupils can expand and contract. That one actually looks a little pinpoint. Don't do drugs, people. There's our light source. And the light is hitting objects. It's hitting a wet ball sunk into a bony socket covered with fleshy bits. Oh, that's complicated. Yes, kind is. But think about the shapes. Look in the mirror. Look at photos. Since the light source is over there, this part's going to be dark, right? Where that fold goes in, it's darker. Maybe there's a little light right into that eyebrow because the light's coming from the right. And the eyelid is a separate thing, and it's going to be shadowed on that side because remember, that's covering a round object. Well, sometimes people have bags under their eyes and sometimes they do not. A baby couldn't hardly see anything. An old person who hasn't been getting enough sleep, it might be rather profound. Everybody's different. We're just going to lay some color down here because, you know, in pastels, you're going to need layers and layers of color anyway. So we got to start somewhere. Now, some people, let's start right there because it's folding back. And it's dark where it meets the nose. Okay, we're getting a little form here. The light source is going to create the form. You have to constantly ask yourself, what's this shape? What's this doing? Considering this light source, where are the lights and shadows on this object? And you may like abstract art, and that's fine. You want to break rules. Please learn them first. To just like slop around and break rules, just like, I'm not going to break all the rules, I'm going to ignore them all. You're just goofing around, okay? Learn the rules, you can break them then. Do it with some thought and some deliberation. Well, we're going to make a blue iris, because why not? But as you've no doubt noticed, it would be very rare if a iris was just one solid color. There's all sorts of variations in there. Once again, go look in the mirror. Look at some reference photos. But it's a start. Now what are we doing? This is a tortillon, because everything sounds better in French. They're cheap. They come in all sizes. And because this is kind of a small space to be blending with my big fat finger, I'm going to use the tortillon. I had a student who used Q-tips, and the Q-tips worked very well. So we're just going to do a little blending here with the tortillon. And then we're going to step back, as artists do, and say, now what do I need to fix? Alright, we've got some more work to do. I'm going to use this pastel pencil. Often, outline of an iris is darker than the main color. Also, that eyelid up there, it's casting a shadow. So it can be darker right there. What about the white part? Yep, it's casting a shadow on the white part too. And oh yeah, that white part, it's a round ball. So it goes away and it's a little darker on the edges like that. Some general said, don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes. Sometimes, depending on the light source, there is no white in the eyes, just shaded grays. It can be very dramatic, which is why you need a live model or a good reference. And there's like little rays coming out of the middle of the eyeball, right? Like that. And that can vary a whole bunch from one person to another. Once again, small space, I'm using the tortillon. In English, it's called a blending stump. Alright, progress. We're not there yet. That pupil looks a little pinpointy, like maybe they're on something. Could be bigger. It can get bigger and smaller depending on the interest of the person looking at it. A little spray. It's going around. Oh, up here along the top of the bony socket, of course, is an eyebrow. This is not a Maybelline ad. So this is just like regular eyebrow, generic eyebrow, not plucked or colored or anything. It's maybe just like what an eyebrow might look when you look in the mirror in the morning. Something I try to avoid. And of course, it's little short hairies, isn't it? I like when I get a really old dude and he's got these white long hairs that come halfway down his cheek. That's kind of funny. And it's not just black. There are little white hairs in there. Or lighter hairs in there. Alright, so we got an eyebrow, which could of course be any color, any shape. I guess eyes are difficult after all. Well, here's a worn out, keep your worn out pastels, because this one has worn out to the point where it has a sharp edge, which is nice for these little tiny lines, huh? So really, don't throw them away until they just disappear. Now, people have eyelashes, as we well know. When someone's looking straight at you, the eyelash is coming out and curving up, so it doesn't look very tall, I guess you'd say. It's foreshortened, but as it goes toward the side, you're looking at the side of the eyelash, it's going to look longer. Oh, and there's some little bitty ones over there. Try not to go like Minnie Mouse with these, or makeup ad or fake eyelashes. But you know what? You do you. If that's the person you're drawing, do that. And we have some at the bottom too, don't we? They're smaller. We use black, so now we're putting some fixative spray on there. I'm gonna wait about 10 seconds, because it does dry fast. Not good enough yet. Now be careful, artists say that forever, and they can keep working on the same thing forever, so you do have to find a stopping point. But it's not yet. So remember that eyeball's coming toward you, so that fleshy bit right there is coming toward you as well. And then the cheek starts coming out, and that starts getting lighter as well. And maybe it's a little bit light, hitting right there, just a little bit, we don't know. Whatever the brow's doing, look at it, draw what you see. Well, there's sort of an eye. No, not good enough yet. Let's see, what's next? What's it lacking? It's lacking some stuff. Now, some people I've noticed have what you might say deep sunk eyes. This part by their nose can be very dark. That will vary from person to person. Add a little white, because you should have somewhere some white and some black on your painting. Kind of gives something for the other colors they'll use to go against. Well, and around the pupil often it's a little lighter, right? Could be different colors of blue eyes, maybe little gold flecks, we don't know. It's very interesting. Probably shouldn't go up and study other people. It bothers people when you just stare in their eyes like a psychopath. But you can look at your own eyes, and you can look at photos. We think we need to do some more here. Not quite good. I'll take my whitey, and I'll lick it, and I'll stick a little highlight in there. Whoops, all of a sudden that looks wet down it. Sometimes you can see a lot more detail. I'm not putting a lot of detail in here. If you're doing a portrait, the shape and expression is much more important than every little detail, every little tear duct or whatever. So get out your paper and some good reference photos and practice, practice, practice. Have fun. Remember, it's not a screw-up, it's a learning experience. You can't just pick up a violin and sound gorgeous. When people start playing the violin, they sound pretty bad. But when they've been practicing and practicing and perfecting their art, I don't know about you, they can make me cry. So have a great week. Let me know how you're doing. Contact me if you need to with questions. Stay awesome.